We love hip hop.
Right. So we got a West Coast legend in the building right now. Okay. Critically acclaimed and, feature as well as very accomplished artist and now podcaster. Okay.
Sure.
On the Black Effect Network, iHeart Network with Charlamagne the God and them, you know what I'm saying? The No Ceilings podcast, the host of the No Ceilings podcast. We have Glasses Malone in the building.
Just a casualty of all the action. Now my trophy, ass whoopings, how you win it, man.
Let me give you
that part right there. Yeah.
So
appreciate the love, brother.
Thank you for pulling up over here. It's funny that how our conversation here is about to start because it started off of a tweet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's been a heated debate that's been going on after the Mos Def interview that dropped not too long ago, where Mos Def was asked about Drake being hip hop, and his answer, it was kind of on the fence.
Well, so ironically, the conversation came to me because I kind of had this thought 2 years ago, like amongst my studies. So I did a Breakfast Club interview probably 90 days ago, 120 days ago about this same topic.
Mm-hmm.
I did Bootleg Kev podcast about 6 months ago, maybe about a year and a half ago. I kind of was coming across my studies of hip hop and I noticed some consistencies and inconsistencies. So that's why Charlamagne and Andrew hit me, because this was a conversation that I had brought to the forefront before. So they felt like it was compelling because it was the same thing I was saying, except my thought is a little bit more nuanced than most. Most is, talking about a musical space alone. You know what I mean? Like maybe the singles, you know what I mean? But my idea was a little bit more rooted in something different.
Yeah, because one thing that I guess got under my skin a little bit, right, is the whole regional thing, right? And I felt that your comments on Drake that I was hearing on the Brilliant Idiots podcast was...
At least to me, his best work is when he's rapping about his experiences in Canada.
Agree, but they're pop experiences.
Not to me. Not when he's talking about trying to be when he's talking about being on the come up, trying to make it as a rapper, yada, yada, yada. Like, I like when he raps about what he's going through in Canada. That sounds very organic to me.
I don't think it's nothing to like or dislike about it. It's always fantastic. He's a fantastic artist.
Do you think he's hip hop?
No, he's not. It's obvious he's not.
So
that because of the area that he comes from, he can't completely represent hip hop or be hip hop, right? So correct me on that.
So hip hop is street urban culture personified through the arts. Street urban culture. So it don't, because again, like we've talked, like there's street urban culture in Toronto, there's street urban culture Montreal, there's street urban culture in Vancouver. There are street guys all over, the Northern America, all over the world. So street urban culture exists through all walks of life. That was my thought when I was thinking about it. Drake doesn't represent street urban culture.
Right.
Now, there are some guys who have grew up not quite in the hood or street urban areas, but along the line, right, they were raised by some of the same teachings, right? Because people start to integrate into the same schools. And those guys are the exception, but the exception is not the rule.
So are you talking about like a Kanye West?
Could be. Like, what's funny is I've been thinking about this for so long, because obviously Kanye West is one of the greatest, musicians, period, in all of music. But as a hip hop component, it's really special. But I was just doing some homework, but I also understand how that conversation can go, right? Where there's different people who grew up in certain areas, but they integrate with people from street urban, culture through school. Because other than that, how do you pick up the lingo? Other than that, how do you pick up the fashion? Other than that, how do you pick up the culture itself? Like, it only starts in these places. And that's kind of what I was saying when it was a thought. But again, it wasn't a knock towards Drake's talent. Drake is one of the most talented artists in the history of music. He's a scientist. 40 is unbelievable. They make great records. They are fantastic. But I was telling them he's a pop artist because he goes around and he takes street urban culture and then he purifies it for a mainstream audience, so everybody can get it. That's what being a pop artist is. That's what Madonna does.
Yeah, because you said Kanye is Michael, Drake is Madonna.
Sure, because so Kanye is Michael Jackson because Kanye still came through a full-fledged urban experience being in Southside Chicago, right? A really black experience, right? Like Michael Jackson through the Jackson 5, where he was an R&B singer. And then he understood things about music, and he was able to do certain things with music to bring it to a mainstream audience, to bring urban music. Drake is a little different, right? He's from a suburban community, outside of Toronto. It doesn't have a ton of interaction in the street urban areas of Toronto.
Got to stop you there, because he's from a suburban community, or he was, he lived in a suburban community, but it's inside Toronto. Like Forest Hill is very much inside the center of Toronto, right?
Yeah, like Brentwood is in the center of Los Angeles. You know what I mean? But again, it's not where the street urban activity. So when I'm saying outside, I don't mean like, Forest Hills is Toronto, but I'm saying like Brentwood is Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like Brentwood is a neighborhood in Los Angeles, but you've heard of Brentwood, right, with the OJ stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if you talk to most guys like me from Los Angeles, when we talking about street urban Los Angeles, we wouldn't be talking about Brentwood.
Right. Okay, so I get
you. Forgive me, not to say it's outside. I'm saying it's not in the street urban specific area of Toronto because they have streets there. They got densely populated crime-ridden community there, multiple.
Yeah.
So I'm saying because that is not his cultural upbringing, right? It's not even crossing paths with that. That would invalidate him from the conversation of hip hop.
Well, the thing is with me, a lot of the times I get a little bit of flack because of my history out here, just seeing the come up of Drizzy from the beginning, right? And I understand the whole complaint that people have with him being a suburban kid. But even from the music itself, he's explained a lot of different situations where he's interacted with hood culture, got himself into a share of trouble before he got into the rap. Not saying he was the biggest gangster or anything like that, and he's not saying that. But there is some still hood influence that comes into what Drake does before he became a big rapper.
I don't think it's before he became a rapper.
I'm just going off of my history and experience.
No.
Right?
No. Listen what I'm saying. I don't think I think it's before he became a big rapper, not a rapper. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I think if when you start to do music, if that's your first experiences with the culture itself, that's not the equivalent of being raised in the culture to understand it.
Yeah. Oof. Okay, one of the quotes you were saying is hip hop was giving a voice to the ghetto, and so is it technically you have to? I'm just going from your point of view. Does somebody have to be from the hood to be able to represent and be hip hop?
No, so that's what I'm saying. That's the rule itself, right? But then there are exceptions.
Yeah, but who made that the rule? Is that because
I think that's
of like? I know hip hop came from the streets. We can go back to Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 and the Message and different things like that. But then we could also go back to the Sugar Hill Gang, and there was nothing street about that song.
Well, it is street, right? Because it's about poverty and bad diets and growing up still having parties. Hip hop is a party in the ghetto.
Yeah,
it's how the ghetto parties, right? So it's not one or the other. It's where else do you get culture from if not from poor and oppressed people? It's because of the educational programs, right, that create slang. Slang is born out of necessity, not out of coolness.
True.
To take fashion that's cheap and poor, like a pair of worker pants like Dickies, or $18 shoes like Converse, Chucks, All-Stars, or Timberlands, or any of these really cheap things that people couldn't afford, and to turn it into a proud fashion statement, it requires a level of oppression and poverty. That's what makes it look cool, right? So nobody's sitting in a suburban community trying to figure out slang.
True.
Nobody's sitting in a suburban community. So therefore, without the style that is hip hop, like if you were raised to taught how to play the piano and you were taught how to play the drums, there would never be a need for a drum machine. There would never be a need for a guitar. If you could play the guitar, why sample? Right. Why do you need the breaks if you can play music? That's what makes, my perspective valid. That's what validates my perspective for me. That's why you use the breaks. Because if you can just get a drummer can just play. It wouldn't be a break. He'd just be playing. But when you sample, what we call the breaks, the fashion that we talk about, the lingo that we talk about from different ghettos, it's born out of that oppression and poverty. That's what creates the culture that is hip hop. It's you had talent to paint, right, or to spray. You didn't have canvas. Your mom couldn't afford canvas boards. You know what I'm saying? You used the wall. You used the train illegally. As a
yes. But you do have people who have come from, let's say, quote unquote, suburban neighborhoods who weren't sitting on a bunch of money. You know what I'm saying? Single parent households. No. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, who basically were sitting on the same amount of money as probably some of their hood friends. But they just were able to get like a little spot in a suburban home. For example, when it comes to Drake, like his home in Forest Hill, his mom they lived in a basement. They rented out a basement over there in Forest Hill. Sure. So they weren't sitting over there in some big mansion and over there like everybody else.
No, I don't think
so there is an element of struggle. And I hate doing this because I wish he was here to defend himself.
But I'm glad you are, because these are the conversations we should be having. It should never turn into who likes Drake or dislikes Drake. Yeah. Or if Drake is tight or not tight. These are the real conversations we should be having, because this nigga is outstanding. But again, it's not just in poverty in the suburbs. Again, the culture that we call hip hop is born out of necessity. You still have different opportunities at education when you in suburban areas. You still have this. So if you don't integrate with the culture itself, right, the street urban way of life itself, then how do you pick up the actual expression itself? You get what I'm saying? So yeah. I don't think it's about, there's poor people that, I don't want to say poor. There are, everybody that lives in the suburb is not well off. Yeah, everybody that lives in the suburb is not well off, but they have access to well off things, right? You have access to different educations. You have access to different fashion choices. You have access, and again, those things define how you talk, how you speak, how you dress, and how you think. Right. And hip hop is not only just a way of life of emulating what somebody you saw on television, but it's really how you are integrating with other people in society.
Now, one thing that I did hear, like on your own podcast, you and I think it was your producer and yourself were having a conversation, and as far as different regions and what they brought to the culture, which made them more hip hop, like the St. Lunatics, and the different styles that they brought on. I don't know if it was the grills or it was the rims, right?
Sure.
The West Coast and what you guys have brought to the table and these different regions, and this is what hip hop is. You don't feel that Drake has brought anything from Toronto culture into the whole zeitgeist? Like, for example, like, a lot of people I've heard using the word ting, just in regular slang now when I'm watching American media. You know what I'm saying? Or holy, right? That's all Toronto slang that has been brought to this table. Sure. Montclair jackets, Blue Jays caps. I've seen people wearing Blue Jays caps on different podcasts that are, I'm like, how the hell did you get that cap? You didn't come down here to get it. You know what I'm saying? So they're selling it in stores
they sell Blue Jays caps at every Lids in America.
Yeah.
But again, it would be disingenuous to say Drake hasn't said things that have became catchy or things that are not, the conversation of Toronto, right? Street urban culture, right? How they talk, right? Manson, right? Certain things, right?
Yeah.
But again, roughly over 10 albums in, roughly 50 plus videos, roughly 16 years at the top of the game. That's the depth of what we have. Like we still don't know. I do because I've been.
Right.
But the world still doesn't know how a Toronto street nigga get down. to this day. Like, and that conversation wasn't rooted in these bare necessities, right? Like, if I ask you what kind of cars do LA street urban guys drive, what you gonna tell me?
Lowriders.
If I ask you what kind of pants do street urban guys in Los Angeles wear, what kind of pants would you name?
Dickies.
If I ask you what kind of gangs are in street urban lifestyle in Los Angeles, what would you say?
Bloods and Crips. And
Latin, if I ask
Kings
you,
too.
Right. And there's no Latin Kings. It's just straight like
essays.
Sereno gangs, right?
Yeah.
Sereno gangs. But I get why. So we know that about every other region in hip hop that's had 10 plus albums or 14 years. And we don't know it from multiple people. Like, it's pretty much designed initially by the people. Like, you know this because of N.W.O.L or Death Row, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg.
Yes, but
it didn't take much.
You got much more guys who came out of the West Coast compared to Canada, man. That's where it's unfair.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying you knew it with the first guy. And you knew it the first day.
So with NWA, you're telling me that we were able to get a view into Blood and Crip culture from back in when, like, what, 90 or 91 when they first came out, 89?
No, that
because I didn't even know when I was watching. I was just seeing them wearing all black.
Not in NWA, but NWA also is an underground group.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like that kind of went platinum later. They were an underground group celebrated. They weren't a mainstream success. Did you know that the first day was Snoop Dogg? The first day you saw Snoop Dogg, within the first 3 videos, you could tell me most of this stuff about Los Angeles culture, and you didn't have to go any further.
Definitely.
Is that fair to say?
At that point, we got to also know that hip hop was way more commercialized. It was easier to, now let's put it in a package. We'll define all of the things when we present it to the public for the first time, right? Where back before in the NWA days, we'd have to kind of figure it out through the music and whatever video that we had available.
Yeah, once rap music went commercial.
Yeah, so you're gonna put Snoop in.
So Drake is a part of the commercialization of hip hop. It's not, he was already commercial when it happened for him.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's not somebody that's voided of light to see what's going on. If he wanted to show the rest of us everything about a Toronto street urban guy, he could show. It wouldn't even be a choice.
Yeah.
Like, we would have to see it. And I'm saying he hasn't done that. Now, again, I'm not saying he's totally void of anything, but he takes the very tippy top of whatever Toronto has to offer, the street urban culture itself. Mm-hmm. He takes what's ever at the very top, and then he makes that digestible for the mainstream. He did the same thing with the Motto video.
Okay.
So when he was in LA and he put a lowrider under the Bay Area Bridge, that's a pop move, because everybody knows Northern California and Southern California, if you're within the culture, is different.
Yeah.
But when you are from the outside, you put it all together because you're like, this is all the West Coast. This is all California.
Yeah. And he used the Mac Dre bars and stuff like that in that too.
So he takes the tippy top of it, and then he pasteurizes it for mass consumption. That's what pop music is all about. And I think he does a really fantastic job with the music and the culture itself doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying, if it was, when we finally get a bar of a Toronto street urban rapper at a mainstream level, like when we get the Snoop Dogg of Toronto streets, or the Jay-Z of Toronto streets, or the Lil Wayne of Toronto streets, or the Chief Keef of Toronto streets, when we get that guy, we'll know everything culturally going on in Toronto, because that's how hip hop works.
Here's the problem, right? Sure. And we're coming from over here in the North, where we've always been trying to get into that American market, and acceptance has always been a hard thing. So from back in the days, we've emulated a lot of the different things that have been going on in American culture, like a lot of other countries, but Canada especially. Sure. We've emulated a lot of the things that you all do to try to gain acceptance within the hip hop scene. So being overtly Torontonian and then trying to get accepted on American airwaves, has the people who tried before, it never worked. You understand what I'm saying? So Drake had to kind of seep into you guys, like, subconscious by doing all these different things until, like, let's say the Nothing Was the Same album, where he started to let people hear more of the Toronto slangs and stuff like that. The skits that are on this guy's album, these girls are talking about getting oxtail and all these different things, which is super Toronto culture. You feel me?
Sure, the bare minimum. But again, so then you would be saying the same thing. He used a pop approach to get into rap music.
But the argument here, or the debate here, is more if Drake is hip hop. Can't both things be true? Can't a person be pop and hip hop at the same time?
No. So like hip hop can go pop culture.
Okay.
Right? Like certain things have went pop culture from hip hop. The hoodie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So yes, but it's not the other way around. Things don't go pop culture into hip hop.
So, for example, like when Diddy was producing Biggie, okay, yes, when Biggie first came out, he was super raw. But when he got with Diddy and they put out the Ready to Die album, they had a mix of raw tracks, but then they also had that very shiny, glistening stuff like Juicy, so that they can intentionally get into the pop culture. So isn't that the same thing?
No, because even the way he talked, the slang he used from the first day, the first time you saw him, you saw Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. You heard Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. The music was just the pad that, because that's all it really comes down to, right? It's just, the music is truly what allows everything to transfer, the beat, the melody.
Right.
So it's not like you have to be somebody else. Actually, it works for you less in hip hop when you, like if you come out like a New York rapper and you're from LA, you won't even get a chance. If you come out like a Los Angeles street urban guy from New York, you won't even get a chance.
Yeah.
If you don't represent the culture, hip hop is the burden of culture. Like you pressured to represent. Hip hop is about us, not about me. Us. So it's about putting us and representing us. So if you're saying 2 or 3 or 4 albums, he used a pop approach where he used different street urban cultures all around Los Angeles without showing us street urban culture in Toronto, then it would be by definition what pop music is. So yes, hip hop can go pop, right, but pop music doesn't go hip hop.
But in essence, Drake is a rapper, right? Even before he started the singer.
One of the best.
Like even before the singing started and stuff like that, when he
minus the singing.
Yeah.
I'm not even that's another disingenuous comment. The nigga's a fantastic MC. It's not about is he talented as a rapper. It's not about he's a talented rapper, a talented MC, a talented songwriter. He great ear for it. His team is impeccable. They're like great. It's a room full of scientists that understand the job, and they are one of the best teams in the history of music at getting the job done.
Yeah.
But hip hop is a little bit more than music. See, it's the thing about hip hop, and I learned it. It's the culture first, and everybody else is weighed down with the burden of representing. Drake is not burdened with of representing, and no pop artist is burdened with the culture of representing. You won't even get a chance if you don't represent. You better represent somebody.
Yes, but I feel that maybe not the burden, but at the same time, I feel he does have the burden, or he wouldn't rap at all. Because yes, a lot of his most popular songs are the ones where he's not rapping, but then he chooses to still rap at such a high clip to impress somebody. It's not for the pop fans, it's for the hip hop heads. When he dropped the last, whatchamacallit, and I'm going to have to start a new meeting soon, but when he dropped the last EP with all of those rap songs, it wasn't to get the pop crowd open. It was because all the people who were complaining about him not giving us enough hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Get to these bars.
That's the crazy part, right? I think that's the thing with pop artists. I think Madonna did the same thing with songs like Holiday, where if it gets too poppy, I think Prince started his career really pop. Yeah. And then he realized, looking at Rick James' success, he needed to be a little bit more, urban. He needed to be a little bit more funky to gain the audience. And I think Drake, as a pop artist, is very familiar with it. Like, it wasn't like people saying his record had too much singing at first. They were saying it wasn't good. Like he tried at so many different pop sounds.
Yeah.
People, the core that built him, which is what
The rap people,
refer to as hip hop, black people, right?
Yeah.
We built him. It's like, what the is all of this? But Drake is like, I give him credit as a brother, right? He is for sure in tune to what niggas is doing around the world. That nigga is in tune. But that's also the cornerstone of being a pop artist. It's not a discredit to him by me saying this. And I think somewhere along the line, it's like me saying this means I'm not going to listen to the Drake album. This is ridiculous. Like, who the doesn't listen to Drake? Like, who the doesn't listen to Madonna? Certain people, are talented musicians, and you hear them, you're like, yeah, they jamming.
Yeah.
Some of them are just jamming, and Drake is one of those guys as a talent. But again, if you misclassify him, what happens is you sneak in other guys. You have a Jack Harlow. You start sneaking in other guys, and you look up, and now nobody from the ghetto will have an opportunity because they will spend money in people who market to the mainstream. If you're a little whiter, if you white, right? That's what happened to rock and roll. They made it about just the music, and it was always more than the music. But when they made it about the music, and then the white folks in America start playing the music, black artists couldn't get the budget. And next thing you know, you look up and black people, we come from poor places. We got to make a living. You know what I mean? Now you couldn't get there's no black rock that can get real financing. And this is the verge of happening to hip hop. And that's why I realized it was important that I expressed the thought. It's no heinous thought towards Drake. Like, Drake is outstanding. And it's not like he needs to be hip hop for us to listen. But the problem is when you make him carry the same burden that everybody else does not have the opportunity, everybody cannot just, and it's not because they're not as talented. Eminem is one of the greatest hip hop artists ever. Fantastic rapper, all the above.
Yeah.
It's the reason he went diamond twice. And it's not because he's just better than everybody. That's just not, that'd be disingenuous. He's as good as rap can happen, but he's not better than everybody. But because people see him and they can relate to him closer to how he looked, it's an easier sell. And who the fuck is not into business but to make money?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have to, I felt compelled to make the discussion. Again, somewhere along the line, it's being taken by people who don't like Drake. It's being taken by people who dislike Drake. That's not what this conversation. That's why I'm saying this is like, oh, he's not tough. That's not what, he's a man. It's a grown-ass man with children. The conversation is rooted in preserving culture for other ghettos around the world to still be able to get financing to express what's going on with their community, to be a representation. And if you take it from that, if Drake is hip hop, and then you move Jack Harlow, who is Drake, as just a pure, next thing you know, it won't be another brother from Toronto, New York, Watts, Houston, New Orleans. It wouldn't make business sense. Yeah. And that's why it's important to keep the lane for hip hop pure so people from the ghetto can keep having opportunities to change their life and put the rest of the black world on alert on what's going on in their community so we can be aware to either help, to know, just to stay connected. The struggle stays connected. That's how we all understand we're not alone. That's one thing them brothers in the Bronx and New York did correctly. They made sure they created a way for us to express ourselves in all ghettos when we didn't have representation. Middle class Black America always had representation. There's always been, Willis from Good Times. Different Strokes, right? There's always been Theo Huxtable since the 80s. There's always been, what's the brother from Family Matters?
Eddie Winslow.
Eddie Winslow. There's still, remember, as many urban street music movies as there are. California, about gangbanging for 40 years. Colors came out in 88. There's still less than 10 movies.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so it's more of a understanding that people need to have to preserve something for the next ghetto kids to have a chance. And if you don't keep it this way, we won't never know what's going on with the brothers in Toronto. We'll never know with the brothers like us. no disrespect to the middle class brothers, because I know what their life is like because I see it on television all the time. It's on Nickelodeon shit. You know what I mean? But I need to know what's going on. I want the world to know what's going on with the brothers in the Toronto street urban culture. People don't believe that there's a struggle.
Yeah, it's hard to, the thing is, as somebody who listens to a lot of Drake music or who's listened to a lot of Drake music over the years, and we're both people who take in the bars. Like the bars don't go over our head. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I've heard so many different references to different areas and areas that I know that are crazy and different things. And he doesn't make whole songs about them or even like 8 bars of a 16 about them. But he puts those in there. So for the people who are listening, they're like, okay, yes, I could identify with this hood. He starts putting on different names of hoods to people outside of Toronto. I feel this is all part of hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, but it's also a part of pop to look. He's still a black man.
And sorry to interrupt you, because even with pop listeners are not ingesting the music. They just hear it. They're not listening. You understand what I'm saying? For most pop, yeah. It serves a different purpose. So You're not going to put the same amount of care into the lyrical content of a pop song to care if people hear about whatever blocks and stuff like that.
I think me and you, people that look like us from our struggle don't. I think the rest of the world does. See, I think the rest of the world does. The rest of the world does. Yeah. We don't. So but it's also because we feel like if you use rap, like hip hop didn't start rap. Hip hop popularized rap, right? And what rap was able to do was it became an expression for people who couldn't sing to get a point across through music.
Yeah.
Right. So at this point, rap, for the last roughly 20 years, rap has been mainstream, not hip hop, rap. So you have Miley Cyrus making a rap album. You can have a lot of, we watch
Bad
a
Bobby.
Lot of different, you know what I mean? And like we talked about with Post Malone earlier, people use rap, right, as a vocal delivery.
Yeah.
Drake is he's really smart. Like, to his credit, he does try his best to put on. He's not totally void of it, but he also, like a pop artist, feels the burden of being responsible for everybody to make something for everybody listening. That is not a luxury afforded to hip hop artists. That's a luxury afforded to pop artists. Watch Nickelodeon. Yeah, this is the dude that played in the TV show
with the Degrassi stuff. Yeah.
And I didn't know because I'm gangbanging when that show is on TV. I'm low riding it up. But I don't.
You know what? So same here.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah. So I'm not. I don't want people to think like, because Charlamagne even made the joke. It's like, oh, somebody has to die. That's not what I think hip hop is. Hip hop is not always. The hood is not always violent.
Yeah. And like, don't get me wrong, I didn't believe Charlamagne. Like, I've seen enough of your interviews.
He always, that's his favorite joke, but it's like, no, man, it's like, it's still the culture. It's still the lingo. It's still the style of this. It's not always, you're not always on the side of crime, right? You're not always the criminal, but you observe the crimes, right? Yeah. These are the things that shape your life. The educational programs shape how you talk. This is where all of these things come from. Mexico, it wasn't some rich man in Mexico that made the taco. It wasn't some rich man in Italy that made the pizza. Like, these are poor cultural phenomena that poor people kind of created to make do with what they had. And then it became a phenomenon of the whole. We treat pizza like it's everybody in Italy.
Yeah.
We treat tacos like all Mexican people. And I got friends that come from affluent Mexican communities their whole life, and they're like, man, I don't eat no motherfucking tacos like that. You know what I mean? So again, it's like it's a little disingenuous to call everybody black hip hop. That's probably not true. Everybody black is not street. Everybody black is not this. You know, some people, you know, deal with their blackness. Drake is black. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like, so again, but everybody doesn't have a street urban experience. And that's what hip hop is. It is the street urban experience personified through the arts.
Listen, man, when it comes to this debate about whether Drake is hip hop or not, we can go through this all day long.
Sure.
One thing I want to ask you also, just even based on that, did you see the post that happened afterwards where he responded to Drake under my actually Instagram post calling him a bohemian bucket?
Who said that?
Drake.
No, I never saw that.
So what happened was, I told a story about Mos Def when he came down to Toronto. All right? He came down to Toronto back in 2005. He was here for the Echo Fest. It was, you know, a great weekend. But during that weekend, he had an ecstasy-fueled weekend where he ended up getting married within the 3 days that he was here to a Toronto chick.
Nice.
That went kind of viral before viral was a thing. And she even wrote a book about it and all her other past experiences. And I guess it went left and they ended up getting divorced. They couldn't get divorced because Mos Def was still married when he got married again in another country. Okay. Lord. And I was explaining the story, you know, I was calling him a candy goblin. I was podcasting it up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, putting it on, for the home team.
But the thing is, the E part, the ecstasy part, like it was like, what? Mr. Righteous, Mr. Hip Hop is out here, you know what I'm saying, high off his face, right? So Drake jumped in the comments and called him a bohemian bucket because bucket for us
I know.
is, exactly, right? So that went viral, dog. Like it got on all of the different platforms and it was on Hip Hop News. I felt great. I went viral for a second.
That's the dopest, but I don't think Drake is totally oblivious to street urban culture in Toronto. And I'm sure to some places he does. You know, it's still a Toronto nigga.
Yeah.
Still a nigga from Toronto. You know what I mean? He may not be, you know, I'm not saying he's from per se the type of place that me and you could be from. Is a little different. But I'm saying he's still a man with pride. I'm sure he's looking at this and he's thinking like, man, glasses just punk ass shit. I know this motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like I've talked to this motherfucker.
Yeah.
And it's not, and that's been my point. It's not an attack on this nigga, man. This nigga's outstanding, bro. It's not that. He don't understand what he represents to what's going to happen here in every other ghetto. And it's not his job to, bro. His job is to go out and provide for his little son, man. That's his job, to go out there and be great. It's my job to protect and stand up for street urban culture and opportunities for the future. He's not the enemy. None of it is the enemy. Not even the white people that's going to finance everybody else that's white in the future in hip hop's name. They're just trying to make money. But you have to also be mindful that if people see that it could be somebody not from where we from doing it, and it don't matter if they're good or bad, because Jack Harlow, while he's a more than, you know, quality MC, again, he's a more than quality MC.
He's great.
There's entirely too many niggas that's just as good.
Yeah, no, you could find another Jack Harlow like lyrically anywhere. The look and all that is what really brings him to the table.
You know what I mean? And that's the point. Like he's not. Again, Eminem is as good as rap can happen. Like he's as good as anybody that's ever rapped before at the highest level.
Yeah, it's hard to match an Eminem. Like you can't just clone an Eminem. Like you have to be as good to clone him.
It's only a handful of guys. You know what I mean? You're gonna go to some Jay-Z, some Snoop. You have to have some cultural phenomenons to be a Busta Rhymes. It's a handful of Nas, a handful of niggas, Lil Wayne. But it ain't a lot of niggas as good as Eminem. You know, there ain't a lot of people that can rap and you know, do hip hop and make rap songs as well as Eminem.
Yeah.
But what he represents to the music industry is something different. It's the reason that he can sell 2 diamond albums and He's not clearly better than Jay-Z. He's not clearly better than Snoop Dogg. He's not clearly better than these guys. There's an extra marketing appeal.
Yeah.
And again, I hate when they use that against him because he is talented, but I also have to be aware that, damn, so Drake is one thing, right? So Drake comes in, he doesn't wear the burden of Toronto street urban culture. He doesn't have to. He could walk in and he can, his second or third album could be a New York song, or his third album could be a Los Angeles song, like Motto, a West Coast song. But the thing is, you get Jack Harlow now.
I feel like maybe from the outside, it's kind of harder to see the responsibility that Drake has to bear when it comes to the Toronto hip hop culture, right? And I'll be remiss if I don't mention also some of the people that he's put on. For example, Smiley, who signed to the A.W.O.L label, right?
Yeah,
he put him on this song Over the Top, which helped Smiley's career out exponentially. But we
don't even got to go to Canada. We can go to Atlanta. We can go to Compton, to YG. We can go to Draco, rest in peace. I think he does a great job of socializing with brothers around this country.
Yeah.
Around this world.
But Toronto specifically, he's put on Pressa. He put Pressa on tour for the first time. Like the first show that Pressa ever did was on the Boy Meets World tour back in the days, as well as Smoke Dogg, R.I.P. Smoke Dogg, right? So he's tried to do his best to put on a multitude of different artists from here so that more people can get even the grittier, authentic Toronto culture that those guys bring. But like LA, there's a lot of politics.
Sure.
Right? And, once again, R.I.P. Smoke Dogg, he put on two guys and one of them isn't here.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it becomes a harder thing to just say, I want to put on a whole bunch of you guys and really bring the urban culture to you guys, because anytime you pick somebody, now there's a target on their back.
Yeah, listen, I think Drake does a fantastic job of repping Toronto as a whole. There's never been anywhere close to that type of ambassador. Maybe the closest one would be somebody not from Toronto. Vince Staples, maybe. Vince Carter.
Vince Carter.
Somebody played for the teams or something. Shout out to Cardinal
for sure.
I remember, right, coming up, that was dope. But I think Drake is a fantastic representation of Toronto as a whole.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He represented proudly top to bottom. The motherfucker is the greatest mascot of the Raptors, and he's a fantastic rap artist that can give you takes a little bit of what the street life is like there. Very few little ones. But hip hop is specifically about representing the little people. Specifically represent, and Drake has always represented everybody the first day. Everybody. The first day you saw Snoop, he represented just a specific style of Long Beach. The first time you saw Eazy-E, he represented the specific thing. Kevin Costner was born and raised in Compton. But Eazy-E didn't represent Kevin Costner. He didn't represent Kevin Costner. Juvenile didn't represent nothing but the ghetto of New Orleans. So again, that's the difference with hip hop and pop music. I get it. I'm starting to think that pop music carries a negative stigma, especially people like us. But again, that's disingenuous because my older homies with Madonna. We with the Michael Jackson solo albums. None of us really saw him as a kid. If you our age or younger, we only knew the pop version of Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
so it's not a disservice. It's just a mindful assessment of what's going on and what could be if you don't say anything.
Part of that is our own indoctrination, fam. From back in the days, anytime people started getting too popular, oh, you sold out. Oh, you crossed over. So it's like, even like some of our favorite artists who came from the hood, some of them will be looked at as pop artists because they got some of the success that they got. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
They were ostracized because they gained success. Like, look, MC Hammer's from the Bay Area. I know he wasn't giving us the purest of hip hop, but we killed that dude, man.
Yeah, but remember, that's the point, right? I'm glad you said that. Somebody culturally relevant and very much every bit of an Oakland nigga as you can be because of his music right? And people thought it was entirely true for everybody, and not just the street urban life of Oakland. He got it, right? But again, he started that way, and people had the same conversations for him.
Yes.
So it's not, these are not kind of conversations that are, allocated to just Drizzy. That's just disingenuous, bro. It's not true. This is a consistent conversation, but this is more of the most unique thing we've ever saw. And I don't think Drake crossed over. Drake started over. You know what I mean? He didn't start here. He didn't start from the hood. That's not where his music starts from. That's not even where he starts from. His music, or he didn't start from the hood.
His mainstream, once people started getting him into the more American eyes and stuff like that, then you started hearing more of the mainstream stuff, or stuff that could be considered mainstream. But when we started hearing Drake, like, just getting played on this college radio out here, he was hip hop to the bone, fam.
Well, I think he was rapping to the bone. I think he was rapping. I think he was saying a prime MC. Again, if you go listen to Certified, it's my first song, man. My first single was my first hit record, top 60 in the country. It's my second gold record. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have a ton of shit like everybody. I got 2 gold records. You know what I mean? I'm really from the corner. You know what I mean? So it's a great accomplishment for me. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Like some drug dealer gang member got some gold records. But Drake always has been a scientist with how he approaches music since he realized there was a science to it. And he's a fan of dope MCs. I know he's a fan of Fonte, right? Like, he's a fan of some really dope brothers.
Yeah.
When Jay Dilla passed away, he was smart enough to realize Jay Dilla shit was that work, and he rapped over Jay Dilla shit. He was really smart about his urban approach, getting with Trey Songz and making this, this R&B rap album, kind of like, he's a very scientific and smart person who is very much aware of everything at the tippy top of street urban culture around the country. But hip hop is literally about being that. It ain't about understanding the tippy top of it. It's about being it and representing it, right? So even if you're not, I'm not saying you got to be like Ice Cube never got a chance to sell drugs.
True.
You remember he was a successful rapper at 17 years old, And
yeah, and he's a gangster rapper.
Somebody will hear this. Yeah, somebody will hear this and feel like that's a diss. It's like, no, this motherfucker has been making great rap records, hit rap records since 17, 18, 19. So he didn't really get a chance. He didn't never have to sell drugs to make it. But he can write a song about all of his friends' experience. He grew up in 111. Right, a neighborhood Crip gang in South Central, and he can write a song about every other guy from his community's experience called My Summer Vacation, where they were taking drugs out of town. So it's still about representing somebody like Ice Cube, who didn't have to, he didn't have to, but he always carried the burden of Los Angeles culture. He always put on for the culture. It didn't have to be, again, he's been a millionaire probably since 20. Maybe 21 at the latest. So it is the burden of culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there are artists, bro, that ascend past it. I think I've been saying this forever. Jay-Z 444 is a pop album. Aerosmith last album is a pop album.
Well, I didn't think that you would have the opinion that the Jay-Z 444 album was a pop album. Interesting.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, well, that makes a bit more sense to where your thought process goes to the division between hip hop and pop when you make that point, bro.
Sure, but these are the consistent thoughts that I have. You know what I mean? I don't think all hip hop artists stay hip hop. Nas is making hip hop.
But he's made himself some share of pop too. He tried. He always missed, but he tried.
Again, I'm talking about now. I'm saying, so it's not like you have to go, right? But it's the understanding of what the task at hand is and what you're trying to do. Yeah. Some artists do become so popular that they just really, Jay-Z talks about being married to his wife. being, having an abundance of money and dealing with that, and there is a level of dopeness about being a black man, but it's weird that black people are locked into the space that is just hip hop.
Yeah.
Jay-Z's experiences at this point can pretty much anybody can hear them outside of us versus Reasonable Doubt. Only we got it.
Yeah. That was
so again, it's no, and it was explaining the streets. If it's for, it was explaining the streets. So again, it's not a conversation relegated to just Drake. That's just not true. Yeah. This is a real conversation about what hip hop is, and what those brothers did to create a lane for people from the ghetto, and then to express themselves, and then to create multiple millionaires from different ghettos and opportunities for thousands of people because of this thing, that didn't exist before. We didn't have any opportunities in the ghetto before this. And it's important to keep it as a representation. Again, sometimes there are exceptions to the rules, but the rule is not the exception. And that's really important to get. It's important because if you don't stop it, if you don't fight it, you'll look up and it become rock and roll. And we'll never have another, to me, hip hop is more than money. I've made more money than I ever cared about making in my whole life. And I don't have nowhere near the motherfucking money Drake got. I've already made more money than I wanted to be a pharmacist. A pharmacist, when I got out of high school, when I was in high school, before I started selling drugs, I fell into that shit. I wanted to be a pharmacist. A pharmacist makes $60,000 a year. What do you work for? 10 years is $600,000. 3 years is 1.8 million. I made that the first 3 years.
Crazy.
So my whole livelihood of work, maybe you get raises, but I'm saying roughly, let's say it's $1.8 million. That's all I ever cared. I wanted to be a pharmacist. And then I became a rapper, right? And a hip hop artist rather. And I made more than $1.8 million in 24 months. So again, it's important to keep these. And if I didn't have hip hop, I'd probably be dead or in prison. I know that's the generic shit, but
no, it'd be
honestly,
true,
bro, I was selling PPP, bro, and I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
I had lost whatever direction I had. My mom went to prison. I lost it. And next thing I know, I was wrapped in some shit that was crazy. And you fighting that motherfucker, getting shot at, going to jail. You don't even know how this happened that fast. And hip hop comes along, right? And it saves my fucking life. You know what I mean? So again, it's not I hate that people feel like there's a line in the sand where it's I have to, if I like Drake, I have to hate Glasses or I have to disagree with Glasses. Bro, we can like Drake as a pop artist, as a successful brother, whatever the we want. But we do have to draw the line in what hip hop is to keep it available for the next ghetto generation. And if somebody falls on the other side of the line, it's okay. It doesn't mean anything less. Because ain't no nigga from where we from bought Drake records because we thought he was like us. You buy the fucking music because it's jamming.
Yeah.
But hip hop, we buy the music because people are like us. It ain't always because the music is jamming. Sometimes I don't think Master P initial shit was that jamming. Not his initial shit, but songs like Ice Cream Man that I love because it represents this. It represents this mentality of where we're from. And it's I'm gonna change my life. I'm not gonna be broke no matter what it's more than music. I don't think you could put Ice Cream Man in comparison to the fucking Hotel California by the Eagles. It's levels to music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a weird space to where it's okay to draw a line in the sand. And then if somebody's over here, we could still like them the same way. I love the Eagles. I love Madonna shit. I love Prince shit. I love Michael Jackson without the Jackson 5 shit. There's a ton of pop. I like Backstreet Boys. There's a ton of great pop music that I like. Hell, I like Post Malone songs sometimes. Sometimes the motherfuckers be jamming, bro. I like The Weeknd. But it's a difference when you start making this, when you get rid of that line, what happens to rock will happen to hip hop. And it's already the inevitable, you know what I mean? But God damn it, while I'm breathing, I gotta keep some for the ghetto of Toronto, the ghetto of Montreal, the ghetto of Vancouver, the ghetto of Los Angeles. I gotta keep us something. You know what I mean? Because the labels need to be thinking twice. Like they can't just go find the next Drake, who is Jack Harlow.
Yeah.
Obviously he's not. Obviously he's not Drake. No disrespect, Jack, but
I know Jack caught a lot of strays today.
No, and Jack is dope, but Drake is way more than just dope.
Yeah.
I mean, this nigga 40 is like, these niggas is top tier. And Jack Harlow is a fantastic MC, but he also represents something that could be the end of Black opportunity for poor people, opportunity for Black poor people around the world. And I have to be honest about it. I have to be honest. It doesn't mean I can't like, anybody's shit over this side of the line, but we have to say it is over that side of the line to keep this shit. This is personal.
To preserve hip hop. Yeah.
Man, the opportunities for people, right? For people that don't have opportunities to change their life. Like this, we have to. It's incumbent, bro. Like it's so important. Like I'm still waiting to find that guy from Toronto hip hop to come out. So it's nothing like seeing Sexy Red. You know what I mean? Like you see that St. Louis girl, you like, man, them hood girls in St. Louis. You get. I would have never knew about the opioid problem in Atlanta if I never heard Future.
But
I would have never knew about. When we was selling dope, you didn't know nobody else was selling dope because if you wasn't going out of town, you didn't know. Yeah. I didn't know people was selling dope in Philadelphia until I met Chris and Nee. Then I met other people around them that knew stuff about the business.
Yeah.
So hip hop is it's almost like our underground railroad of connecting our struggles together and putting on and us seeing that we're not alone in our struggles. It's so deep. And I get it. We got to a place to where it's nothing and everybody just don't care. It's just money, money, but it ain't, you know what I mean? Because nobody need all that money anyway. So it's like, I just want the next group of ghetto kids. Like it was nothing like the first time I saw Chief Keef. You know what I mean? Then the world figured out what was going on in Chicago. Yeah. We knew it first because of Chief Keef, because of Reese, because of Dirk. That's how we knew. And then next thing we know, a year later, the news started talking about it, but we knew first.
Yeah.
We understood the police mistreatment of Black people. Even if you never saw it and you lived somewhere else, you had an idea when NWA said, man, them motherfuckers be fucking with us.
Yeah.
That's what's important about hip hop. It becomes the voice of the voiceless. The ghetto does not have a voice in mainstream America without hip hop. Without it.
One thing that is going to help with the Toronto or the Canadian struggle, because we're trying glasses. We're trying to get our hip hop struggle or the struggle that we have over here, the different hoods, the different hood rappers, this stuff like this, you know what I mean? Building our ecosystem of our media, us having these conversations that hopefully get to a lot of ears. Because when you get a chance, take a look at the network. We've had interviews with over 400 or 500, probably I'm probably on 600 interviews plus, right? And a multitude of those interviews are up and coming rappers from the city, guys who've been doing their thing on this side of the border. But getting over to that side of the border with a lot of the rappers is hard. One, because of the criminal cases and stuff. And two, just getting that worldwide notoriety. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully stuff like this can help the Toronto rappers too, fam, because like you're a legend, dog, and we're having a great conversation about something that hopefully a lot of people will see, and then in turn a lot of people will see those rappers on my channel, fam.
No, but that's the point of it, right? That's why even when you reached out to me on Twitter with bitterness, I understood, because this is somebody that represents, like, I get it. But I also don't want to be misquoted. And that's why I said I don't have no problem coming and explain. I don't want to be sided with the people who dislike Drake. I'm not on that side. I like Drake.
Yeah.
I like Drake. No, you can't dislike Drake. Drake is fucking awesome. He's a cool guy. He's funniest. You know what I mean? He's a good guy and he's talented. But if I did give advice to the artists in Toronto, see, it's not Drake's true responsibility to put on the street urban artists from Toronto. The producers have to put on the artist. And if you want to make the music work in America, right? Canada has presented a sound that's doing well in America. Boy Wonder, certain people that are doing 40s, it's a lot of people doing well in America with a Canada style of how they doing the breaks, right?
Lil Tecca, not to interrupt you, but Lil Tecca took his style from a Toronto rapper out and then blew up with that style.
Yeah.
So it works.
Hell yeah. And the music. So the music brings you across the border. The music brings you across the border when the passport won't, when the visa won't. The music will bring your ass over here. We can know what's going on, but the music has to bring you over here. So the producers have to take on the task of breaking street urban action Toronto. It's not Drake's responsibility. Drake is a fucking mainstream icon.
Yeah.
It is the producers' jobs. And that becomes the task. So my advice to Toronto street urban artists would be to team up and find the producers whose sounds are coming across the border. You know what I mean? Or, because there's a lot of them. There's a lot of motherfuckers over there. It ain't the artist. It ain't the feature. It's the music.
Yeah.
You ride that train called the break, the hip hop break. You ride that motherfucker across the border. And that'll take you to every one of these towns, just like it took every other artist.
Yeah.
The music takes you everywhere. It's only so much your rapping can do. Eventually, we all talk different. So, I mean, we do have, specific English that we all use to speak with each other, but we all have different slang. The music is the one thing that bypasses the words. It bypasses everything. And that's all it really comes down to. So I'm with you. I hope this discussion is a lot bigger than just written off by someone in Toronto as like, oh, Glasses don't like Drake, so or he's American, or he's not street, or he's not a gang member. Silly shit. It's like, no, this is a much deeper discussion that we don't have to come to conclusion on. We don't have to come to a conclusion on it, but I do want you to understand there is no personal agenda towards fucking Drake. That's just stupid, bro. Like, Drake is fucking dope. There's no personal agenda towards cuz. It's just a thought about what hip hop is, what New York blessed us with, what the ghettos can do with it, and opportunities for the ghetto to create, other opportunities for other people. How many people got a job around Jay-Z? How many people got a job around Snoop? You know what I'm saying? Like Nelly, you know what I mean? Like all kind of people, you know what I mean? People take this shit, like look what Birdman was able to do with this shit. How many is, like, I was there and his friends are employed and created hundreds of jobs. Hundreds. Lil Wayne, I remember Lil Wayne's staff was 10, 20 people at a time.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? So again, man, this is a really special thing that we have to preserve. We already lost rock as Black people. You know what I mean? We already lost. It's done. We'll never get that shit back. Just like when neighborhoods get gentrified, it's over.
Yeah.
We would never get it back.
Let me ask you a question a little bit broader on some of these things, because you come from LA, where a lot of people consider the home of gangbanging, right? Bloods and Crips and stuff.
Yeah.
We got that over here. It's been something that's been around since the 90s over here. Maybe
it's been a long time.
Right?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on just the spreading of Blood and Crip culture across America and North America? Just the whole, like, everybody's doing it over now. Like, big salute to Steamin' Hot Grabba with a variety of different Grabba flavors and dispensers. They got red rose Grabba, that red herring Grabba, and peanut butter. Hit them up on their Instagram page, Steamin' Hot Grabba, and use the code WeLoveHipHop and receive a discount on your order. Again, you can find them on Instagram, Steamin' Hot Grabba. Now let's get back to the show. Yeah. Big salute to this episode's sponsor, Exotic Hot Pots, with great strains and merch and delivery all across the GTA. You can hit them up on their Instagram page, Exotic Hot Pot CA, or subscribe to their Telegram at Exotic Hot Pot. Let them know that you heard about them through the We Love Hip Hop podcast. Salute to the sponsors. Cheer.
Well, to me, it's like, long as you got it with your friends. Because that's all real gangbanging is. It's really your friends. The titles are just the title. But everybody, for the most part, they do their things different in Los Angeles. You know what I mean? It's different. There are a few connecting points. Crips wear blue. Some Crips don't really wear blue, but Crips wear blue.
Yeah.
But, when I do meet Crips from Canada, they just Crips. But they better be Cripping. Like I love when I want to meet a Montreal Crip that's like, it is Montreal Cripping.
They're out there.
Oh, I know. I love that. I love when I went to Brooklyn and I met Brooklyn Crips.
So you all never took offense to that? Even when you were younger, you're never like, what the hell? That's our shit.
Not me, hell no. But I mean, I know some guys who have, you know what I mean? But I mean, look, the thing about, cultural phenomenons like hip hop, right, is hip hop could not stay in the ghetto of New York forever. It eventually had to go to the ghetto of Boston and the ghetto of Philadelphia. And then, it didn't stay in the Bronx. It went to Brooklyn, and it went to Harlem, and it went to Queens, and it starts to go everywhere to the ghetto.
Yeah.
And at certain times, it can come out of the ghetto, but it's still very much the same experience of style and fashion, based as that ghetto. So I never looked at it like that, man. I respect the Montreal Crip like I respect a Watts Crip like myself, or a Compton Crip like where I grew up at as well. You know what I mean? It's, you blow your motherfucking head off. You know what I mean? People, gonna represent for their people. So personally, me, I don't really give a long as you putting on and you ain't looking like no sucker, long as you putting on for this Crip, as long as you ain't going out like no sucker and doing no sucker shit and letting everybody run you over, that's all I care about. Just put a good name on representing. It's the burden. It's the burden of Cripping. The burden of Cripping is not being a mark.
Yeah.
Can't let people just run you over and shit. It don't mean you got to bully nobody, but you can't be letting people disrespect you and run you over. And that's the burden of Cripping. So when you say you're a Crip, it comes with responsibilities.
Oh, well, listen, man. Well said, brother.
Much love.
Last couple of things I want to ask you before we wrap our conversation here, right?
Sure.
As somebody who, comments on the culture and stuff like that through your pod, and big salute to the No Ceilings podcast, you know what I'm saying? Make sure for the people who are watching this to go tap into that podcast, right?
Please.
What's your thoughts on because you're over there in the West Coast and the whole, you wrote that song, the Tupac
Must Die.
Tupac Must Die, right?
Yeah.
But the newest development now is with the arrest with Keefe D.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on that, man? With you being the author of the Tupac Must Die song?
Sure. I hope the best for Keefe, man. Keefe is, you hear a lot of shade on his name, but a lot of the shit Keefe be saying, like, about his successes in the streets are true. About what he meant to his community, what he meant to Compton, what he meant to just our side of the 110 freeway, we call it the East Side. He was legitimately, that pretty much is true. And I still need to see the discovery, you know what I mean? Because I don't quite know how did they make that arrest. I'm one of the last people who really believes it's not about the interviews. Something else happened, and we don't know what happened. So I would like to know what's happening as far as the case, but I wish the best for the brother. You know what I mean? I hope he doesn't die in prison. I don't think no human being should die in prison. I pray that God works it out in an amicable way. So, Pac family feel good, and Keefe D is not spending every day of the rest of his life in prison. You know what I mean? Because we do handle things in the street way. Yeah. And that's what the song is about, is the moral understanding of people that come from those communities, from our communities like Compton and Watts and South Central, that we understand that this is, like if you steal something in regular society, you go to jail. Well, if you jump a motherfucker, you most likely probably finna get shot. You know what I mean? Because we look at that as, a disrespectful thing. You could have fought this person head up and gave them a fair fight. And, then we'll look at, if somebody gives you a fair fight, shoot them, we look at you in shame. Yeah. We don't hold you in regards of high standards. You become a buster at that point. You just a nigga that got mad and shot somebody because you couldn't win a fight. If somebody gives you a fair fight, not if they dope fiend you to start a fight, but if they say, hey man, we got a problem, let's step out here and solve our problem. Everybody respects that. And it's not expected of anything. But if you jump somebody with 7 or 8 people, we all expect that somebody's probably gonna come back.
Somebody's gonna get shot.
So again, it's a tough situation, because you have a legal following for Tupac that's like, well, I would love justice for him or his family. And then there's people like me who understand, justice is justice the way we handle it in the streets, and however it happens is how it happens.
The nuance of the things. Yeah. No, man. Last more like topic that's on these mainstream things that are going on, right? You have a very close relationship with obviously Charlemagne. You've been on the Breakfast Club many times. Any thoughts on what's going on with the whole Envy stuff?
I don't think Envy is that kind of person. I think he just was looking out for a friend, and it's probably, it's a problem. You know what I mean? Sometimes when and that's the hard part for people that come from where we come from. You know what I mean? And that's what we was talking about with Drake, where like if he ties himself into the wrong situation, it could be a problem for him.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Envy is in that situation. Nothing about Envy. I don't just know Charlemagne. I know Envy. You know what I mean? I know Angela. I know the music director of over there. So they've always been great with me. You know what I mean? Like Charlemagne just happened to be the person I'm closest to. And he's just a really cool dude, you know what I mean, who tries his best to help, to fuck with people, with Black people. And that connected me to him, his love for Black people. So as far as Envy, I pray for the best. Like I'd wager 70% of everything I made that he had nothing to do. He didn't know there was a crime. Yeah. That's not the kind of guy Envy is. So I hope, he figures it out and he does what he needs to do, because Envy is not that kind of guy. Like he's not a janky person. That just ain't his style.
He doesn't seem like it from the outside, from my view from the outside. He just seems like a nice guy.
I think his friend got out of jail, and, I don't even think his friend, that was his intentions. I think something happened that we don't know happened, and he got behind, and he found himself in a situation and robbing Peter to pay Paul, and next thing you know, you look up and it's a real problem. Yeah. And I think Envy did his best for one of his friends that came home from prison to help him start a legal business, and it went left. And, those are some of the risks we take, based off where we grow up at and staying loyal to our friends, So I just hope it doesn't sour Envy. When it's all said and done, I hope it doesn't sour him and make him feel like, man, I don't want to never help nobody else from my old neighborhood again when they try to change them. That's my fear for him. You know what I mean? Like, because then you start thinking about your family, like, man, I can't help nobody else. And next thing you know, now, no more blessings for nobody from our community. So it's a really, sad situation for Envy to be in, but I think he'll be fine. Like, I know nothing about him ever spiritually rubbed me like he was a crook or a criminal or a dirtbag. Like, he wasn't programmed. That ain't his program.
Yeah. No, man, salute to DJ Envy, man.
Yeah, much love to Envy.
Yeah, man, Glasses Malone. I really enjoyed having this conversation with you. I feel that we got to an understanding of each other and our points of views on hip-hop and the culture. I feel like we see a lot of stuff in eye to eye when it comes to this stuff anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Man, most of us do that come from where we come from, man. It ain't gonna never be that far apart. It's just sometimes we splitting hairs. And maybe this conversation is a split of hair, but it's a hill worth dying on. You know what I mean? Because you got to keep the opportunities for the ghetto. You have to. You know what I mean? They ain't finna give us too many more. You know what I mean? They taking all down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I gotta say, so if it's work, if we splitting hairs over this, I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it too, man.
Yeah, we gonna be on point 98% of the time, so that's all good.
That's the fact. What you got coming up in the near future?
So I'm shooting a short film inspired by Thriller. It's called Price Tag soundtrack. More clips from the brand new album Cancel These Nuts. It's been 90 days, 100 days roughly. I've been selling a ton of vinyls at the cripstore.com.
Nice.
Ton of CDs, ton of cassettes. Make sure if y'all want to, I ship to Canada too. Go to thecripstore.com, TheCripstore.com, and grab a CD, a vinyl, a cassette. I believe in selling music, and people have been buying music. So I'm in that business of selling music. And again, the short film coming up next, working on the LA Giants stuff, and just really trying to keep putting on for hip hop and making dope stuff so people can really, be entertained with a little bit more sophisticated level of street thinking.
Yeah, man. I would suggest for people who are like a little bit lazy and stuff like that, just go on to your Instagram page, Glasses Loke, right? Yeah. That's the one with the check mark. Click the link in the bio, and you'll be able to find the Crip store right away. You know what I'm saying? I went through the website. The website has a nice flow. It's very easy to navigate. And there's a lot of dope stuff on there, man.
Yeah.
And
so again, we just working on a short film and a soundtrack, man. Just trying to, make something. We working on a special style of tour. You know what I mean? That's a little bit more personal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I know we're going to bring it up to, if they let me in this time, last time they didn't let me in because my mom's case, my mom was in the feds for selling like all my arrests. So they made it hard, but hopefully this time maybe I need to call Drizzy and he got all the poison glasses. I ain't putting no strings for you.
No,
but I want to bring it over there and get in the bar and shake hands and meet the people, meet the streets of Toronto and just do the thing. You know what I mean? This is what this hip hop shit is all about, fellowshipping and bringing our culture to everybody and bringing the truth for everybody to realize we all in the same shit and we can make it work.
Well, I'll tell you this. The people who watch this, like what they call the quote unquote unique viewers,
sure.
A lot of people out here are from the scene who watch this. So if they don't holler at you first, we'll talk behind the scenes. I know a lot of people who do a lot of big show promotion and stuff like that, and they get that paperwork done, bro. You'd be over here in no time.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, we working on that. But besides the short film soundtrack, we really working on something like as far as like a way to, to make sure we able to get around and really more intimate ideas, letting niggas see how real it is, letting the ladies see how real it is, and really taking this culture on the road, man, and letting people feel it, man, having fun. You know what I mean? Not being afraid of the people, but mingling and fucking around and doing what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I'm focused on with hip hop. Taking it back to the foundation. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I mean? 7, 8, 9, 10. Call it just 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. Listen, man, I'm looking forward to it. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to have this conversation with me, man. And like I said during this conversation, hopefully this will be something that it will resonate with people in the culture and you could learn something.
Sure, man. And really just thinking in general.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And seeing that it's from an honest place, man, and just thinking. You know what I mean? It's all about the thought, you know what I mean? Pushing our minds to, that's what I try to do with my art as well. You know what I mean? Tupac Must Die is a brain taking your understanding of morality. I'm really bringing you Los Angeles street lifestyle. Like, this is how we see things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It don't matter. So just, accomplishing that was everything. And I'm sure everybody will get it, man. I'm not even worried about it, man. This is my 16th year as a pro. Me and Drake, his record came out in 2009, mine came out in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I can, I know what it's like to be in the business this long. Maybe not as successful as him, nowhere near, but definitely, doing your thing and being a real voice on these corners and being a step outside and niggas know what time it is when you do what you do. So I just want to keep putting on for ghettos everywhere. And that's what we gonna do.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Glasses Malone in the building.
We got to double back, man. When I drop the movie, we got to double back and do this again, man. We got to double back and do this again.
Yes, please.
I got to send you the movie. I'm gonna send you the movie ahead of time. You know what I mean? And we could talk about it and double back. And I see the soundtrack and the film ahead of time. Maybe I'll come down there and rent a theater and show it to 100 motherfuckers from the corner in Toronto. You know what I mean? And really let them see what it's really like. You know what I'm saying? So that's the goal, bro. We'll double back. We'll make this a usual thing. And if you need any assistance, get into any artists or any personalities, you got a resource, right out west.
Thank you so much for that,
Through fellowshipping, bro. And I mean what I say.
Thank you so much for that, man. And thank you for this once again, man.
Much love.
All right. Well, we'll tap in soon, man. I'll send you a DM and then we'll communicate behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'll text you my map.
All right. Dope. Thank you.
My man. Love.
Bless.
We love hip hop.